Everybody, it's so great to see you guys. It's Mom to Wife One. Thank you for coming to my channel or coming back to my channel, depending on where you are in your YouTube journey with Mom to Wife One. This is your first time, I am a content creator. I'm a mommy, I'm a wife, I'm an author, I'm a literary editor, and I'm a friend and a sister and a daughter and all that good stuff. If you guys have been here before, then you already know what I'm going to talk about. And obviously, even if it's your first time, you see from the title of this video what we're here to talk about. So, Married at First Sight, season 17. We have to do episodes 7 and 8, 8 or 9. This is how bad this is. When I first started doing these reviews and recaps, I faithfully dropped the video every single week, so that way you're able to watch the video before you watch the next episode. If you even watch the show, some people watch my videos and don't even watch the show because they're just like, ooh, it sounds interesting, but I ain't got time to watch this. I just watch your reviews, which is perfectly fine. I'm here for it all. But this is how bad it's gotten. This is the second time that I've had to combine two of the reviews into one episode or one video, because it's not that I don't have time to review it. I have not wanted to review it. So I am making a declarative sentence right here, right now. It is December 14th, 2023. Again, we're in season 17 of Married at First Sight. This will be my final season reviewing and recapping this show. I have watched every single season of the show. The reviews and recaps, I think I started doing season 14 maybe. And for me personally, I feel like the show has gotten away from the original vibe. The premise has always been the same. Grab a bunch of strangers, take them through some emotional and psychological testing, see if they're ready for marriage, and then pair them with someone that they don't know, make them get married right away, go on a honeymoon and live together, and then after 6 to 8 weeks, they have decided they want to get divorced or stay married. That premise has never changed. But I feel like the desire to actually see these relationships be successful and the desire to actually show a healthy way of being married, a healthy way of communicating, the desire to show that on TV, I feel like that has gone away. I feel like in the past, probably 3 or 4 seasons, the focus has not been on creating happily ever afters like it should have been. The focus is on just creating drama and just making it so juicy that people want to tune in every single week. And who knows, maybe they've garnered new viewers because of the drama that they display. That could very well be the case, because some people just thrive off drama, and I get that. But for me personally, myself, that is not something that's going to drive me to watch a show. It will drive me away from the show, especially when that show wasn't designed for that purpose. So it's hard for me to do the reviews because I just get so annoyed at the way things are going. Prime example, this season started off with 5 couples, right? 5 couples in Denver, Colorado who are getting married. It is not even halfway through the season and we are down to 3 couples. 2 of those couples don't even kiss each other. This is kind of where we are. And I typically take notes every episode, and I actually took notes for last week and this week, but I don't even want to look at my notes. I'm just going to give you my overall opinion on what I think about these couples, okay? So, we're going to start with Lauren and Orion. Now, Orion last week, back up a little bit, last week's episode, they all came back from the honeymoon and they moved into their apartments. This week, they had their housewarming party. So last week, Lauren and Orion, I was shocked that they flew back together. I was shocked they actually came to the apartment together. It looked like I think she moved in. Did she move in? I don't know if she moved in or not, but basically he told her, I want to start fresh. I want to start over because I genuinely like you, blah, 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 blah. This is what he says on camera, that I want to give this an actual shot. And she said, you know what? I'm down for that, but the only way that'll work is if we leave Cancun in Cancun. Nothing that was said in Cancun or that happened in Cancun, we can't bring any of that into our marriage from this point forward, which I 100% agree with, right? This is what this man says on camera, that he wants to make it work. Then he sends her a text message and said, hey, I want a divorce, but I want to keep going through the process. What does that mean? You cannot have one without the other. That makes no sense, sir. What the freak is you talking about? And of course, she's like, you can't have one without the other. How do we complete a process when you don't want to be married to me anymore? So he's wanting to stay on the show and stay in this apartment. And now that I think about it, it's because his family lives with his mother. Of course, you want to complete the process. You want to have 6 to 8 weeks living in this rent-free apartment until you can get your own stuff together and move out on your own and not live with your mama no more. Now that all makes sense, that's why I want to do the process. Lauren, I will give her this. She genuinely likes this guy, but she is not stupid. She is not afraid to speak her mind, and she is not afraid to call him on his BS, which I thoroughly appreciate. They go to the apartment to speak with Dr. Pia. Last week when they all moved in quotations, everybody didn't move in together. We're going to address that in a minute. All of them were met with the experts, just kind of rehashing the honeymoon. What are some serious topics you guys haven't talked about yet? You know, how can we help you? Blah, blah, blah. So Dr. Pia, Black woman, she ain't no fool. What I love is that of all the experts are very honest and open. They keep it real, blah, blah, blah. Dr. Pia, because she's a little new, it's not as easy for her to shield her facial expression just yet, because she let it be known that she was not down with the BS coming out of Orion's mouth. First time he pissed me off. Well, the first time he pissed me off, that's when he texted her saying he wanted a divorce. Second time he pissed me off is they're sitting there and they're talking about, you know, he was like, oh, you know, things have gone. No, Dr. People asked him, have you guys seen each other since you guys came back? And he's like, oh, well, you know, we've talked and we've texted a little bit. We tried to see each other, but it just didn't work out. Lauren's like, no. You text me to say, hey, I want to see you. I text you all the days and times I'm available, and you ignored me. That's what happened. Don't make it seem like, oh, we just couldn't get together. No, you couldn't get together because you never hit me back. Again, Lauren does not let him get away with stuff. I am so here for her and so here for how she talks to him and just kind of gets him together. No attitude, just like these are the facts. Let's make sure Dr. P got all the information. So then he talks about wanting the divorce, and his reason for wanting the divorce is no longer about her making this racial statement. I was about to put that in quotations because it was a racial statement, but it didn't come from her mouth. But we're not going to rehash that again because I'm going to get my blood pressure up. This is the third time it pissed me off. He was like, you know, I need to, divorce is what I need because of the way she reacts to things. That's strike 3 for me. Because basically what I'm hearing, and I'm sure what Lauren is hearing, and Dr. P, who again is a Black woman, is that, oh my gosh, I'm so scared of the angry Black woman. She's too angry. I can't handle the way she reacts to situations. You mean the situation of you claiming that she's breaking up the marriage, claiming she doesn't have your back, claiming that she's racist, claiming that she made you feel like a minority, claiming that this, and third. All those claims you're throwing at her, all that grace you're not showing her when she definitely gave you grace, and now you're scared and, oh, I can't handle her reaction. And what Lauren said very politely, and I don't think I would have been as polite, my first sense wouldn't have been to be like, well, you know, I'd have been like, are you basically calling me angry Black woman? That's what you're saying on national TV, right? Are you really saying that in front of me and another Black woman? Really? That would have been my reaction. But what she said was, you failed to remember and include that my reaction is a result of an action. So there's something that you did or said to me that prompted me to react. Maybe not in the way you wanted me to, but I'm also confused. What did you expect her to do? When you threw all these claims at her, like, how did you expect her to react? What did you want her to do in the situation? You want her to just take it? She's apologized. You don't accept the apology. She's told you, I'm going to try to do better. You don't believe that. She gets upset with you. Oh, now she's acting like my stepfather did to my mother. And I'm really triggered by that because I couldn't save my mother and blah, blah, blah. No. So basically you paint her into a corner where she literally could do nothing. That's what you've done. And Dr. Pia kept asking them, you know, is there any possible way you guys can move past this? Is there any possible way you guys can work through this? Is there any possible way you can stay married? Because that's her job as an expert on this show, is to make sure she's giving them multiple chances to rethink their decision to get divorced, especially this early before y'all have even moved in together. So I understand her doing her job. But again, I could tell from her body language that she did not really want them to stay together. I could tell. But she had to be professional. Like, oh, are you sure? And she asked Orion this question. And this one I could tell that her demeanor was slipping just a little bit, Dr. Pia. She asked him, what role does control have in your life? Very typical therapist question. And he said, well, no, I don't think I'm trying to control anybody by asking for a divorce. And she's like, but you are, though. And that's literally what her face looked like. If you know Black women, if you know this Black woman personally, If a woman makes that face, like, that means we are simply amused by you because we know we've caught you in the truth, and you can deny it all you want to, but we know what the real deal is. And Dr. Pia made that face on national TV. I was so proud in that moment. I was like, she is pissed off right now, but she is holding it together. So asked Orion, what do you want? He said, I want a divorce. She's like, Lauren, what do you want? And Lauren was honest. She's like, honestly, it doesn't matter what I want. Dr. Pia said, no, of course it matters. She said, what I loved. I think they both were like, I wish he has a good life. I wish he has a good life. Blah, blah, typical, political answer. But she basically said, what I want is for someone to want to be with me and someone who's willing to fight with me for me. I was like, that was cool. And then afterwards, she and Orion didn't exchange any words. They both left their rings on the table and they left. What I imagine happened, and it probably didn't, we didn't see it, but in my head, what happened was Dr. Pia walked out first and then Lauren. And Orion was sitting there looking stupid. I believe that Dr. Pia left the apartment, but she did not leave the building. She stood outside the door with her arms crossed, playing on her phone, legs crossed at the ankle, looking sharp in her business suit. And as soon as Lauren came out the door, she looked at her and was like, sis, let's talk. Let's go have a drink. And I imagine these two beautiful, regal black women walking down this hallway, going to the nearest bar and just talking like, girl, he ain't ish. You don't need him. You don't need that. Don't even worry about it. There's somebody much better for you. I can't believe he did that to you, girl. Don't make no sense. I want to believe that her facade came down, and in that moment she turned into Lauren's friend. Whether they are actual friends in real life, I don't know, and I'll never know. But I want to believe in that moment she saw her fellow black woman hurting and humiliated and just not treated well by this man. And I want to believe she swooped in to just show some love to her fellow sister. That's what I want to believe happened. So this week's episode, they both met with their respective friends to tell them about the fact that they're divorced. And Orion was like, I'm hurt and I don't think I'm looking for a wife anytime soon. I think I just need to kind of relax. It's like, yeah, you do. And what exactly are you hurt by? Are you hurt by the decision? Are you hurt at all by Lauren or what she said and didn't say to you? Like, I would love specifically to know what he's hurt by. And Lauren said, I'm feeling a lot of feelings, but I'm feeling a lot of pain and resentment. And again, I'm very curious. Is a resentment towards him specifically? Is resentment towards the marriage? Is a resentment towards the experts? I would love to know exactly what that resentment is towards, but that's all we saw of them. And I was perfectly fine with it. But then I got pissed off because we see them next week. Why do we see them next week? Y'all decide y'all want to get divorced. Y'all not moving in together, blah, blah, blah. That means you're not on the show no more. I don't know if next week just shows Lauren crying. I'm like, girl, you've cried way too many tears over this dude that is not freaking worth it. Like, you just have. So I don't know if next week they're telling like the rest of the couple that we got divorced. I'm not sure. Either way, we see them next week and it's whatever. We're going to go with Cameron and Claire because not a lot happened with them. They moved in last week. Things seem to be going pretty well. That's pretty much it. Like, They seem to be getting along well. They're still learning their differences. They still are not kissing. At least when they come together, they hug each other. There's no kissing. There's still really no holding hands. That is something that Dr. Pepper talked to them about the physical intimacy and how Cameron is just really following Claire's lead. I think he's made it clear that he wants more intimacy with her. He just wants not even just sex, just more physical type touch with her. And, Dr. Pepper was like, okay, holding his hand, how do you feel about that? And she held his hand there. It's like, yeah, this doesn't feel weird to me, and held his hand at the table. But whenever we see them like walking somewhere outside the apartment, we still don't see them holding hands. And again, they don't kiss at all. They only hug. So I'm assuming if we don't see them kiss, they're not kissing at all. That's my assumption. So that happened. This week, she did do something really sweet. She surprised him at work with lunch. And, he owns a bike shop and he fixes bikes. This is what he does. And she got to see him in his element. He gave her a tour and he even enlisted her help with fixing one of the bikes there. And I know Claire felt the same way that I did. My husband is in maintenance and I don't get to see him do his job. But one time he had a virtual job interview for the job he currently has. And I had to set it up for him on Zoom. And I just happened to come through the room when he was doing the interview and hearing my man talks so intelligently about what he can do and what he has done. I've never heard him talk about his profession, really. I know what he does loosely, but just hearing him talk so intelligently about it, I was like, ooh, that turned me on a little bit. I was like, okay, look at my man being all smart. And I know he's smart, but again, like hearing him using his interview voice to talk about what he does just made me so happy. And it just gave me like the warmest feeling. So for Claire, it was the same thing for Cameron. Hearing him talk about the things that he does, watching him, mess with his bike, it definitely added a level of attractiveness for her, because she was like, I see that he is smart, and I see he is passionate about what he does. He actually loves what he does. And he mentioned that he's only one of 5 or 7 people in the world that are experts in carbon fiber, I think, which is part of the bike. And that was my first time. I was like, oh, Cameron, not that I thought Cameron was dumb, but I was like, oh, Cameron is really smart. I was like, that's kind of cool. But I love the fact that Claire took that step to do that. I thought that was very nice of her. He didn't say, I would love if you did this. She just kind of did it on her own. I was like, okay, that was very sweet and nice. They had their housewarming party, and we find out at the housewarming party that Cameron's father is on his deathbed and doesn't know that Cameron is on the show. I'm with Claire, because he said this when Claire's friend was there, and Claire was like, wait a minute, what? What? Because he talked about his family a little bit, and when she asked him the day of the wedding, he was like, oh yeah, my parents know, and it's fine. He didn't say nothing about his dad being on his deathbed, didn't say nothing about his dad not knowing. So I understand Claire being a little confused, and like I feel like that's something we should have talked about, just us. I would have loved to learn that information in a conversation with just me and you, not with other people there. That's a really heavy subject, and I would have liked for you to talk to me about that first. And why would you just come up with it now? Did he just go to his deathbed today? Why wouldn't you tell me this? I thought that was a very strange thing for him to do. I don't know if it's because it's so painful, but it's like, but I'm your wife now. And if you know how close I am with my family, as you know, Claire is very close to family. She's one of quadruplets, but her brother unfortunately passed away. But she's extremely close with her sisters, extremely close with her mom and all that. If you know how she is when it comes to family, why wouldn't you talk to her about something like that? And I'm sure it doesn't help that his family is all in New Zealand, so he doesn't get to see them, obviously. But I did think that was kind of weird. So it's kind of how it ended. Her friends came, and they're all therapists. He kind of talked to them about, just emotions, and I need to open up more, and I am opening up, but we're still not doing this. And they just seem like they're orbiting each other. I'm not feeling the connection with them. Not feeling the connection, not feeling the chemistry. Again, they're not kissing at all. Not even a kiss on the forehead, kiss on the cheek, a little dry peck. Like, none of that is happening, which I think is very strange, and that doesn't bode well, I don't think, because you guys at this point have been married now for like 2 or 3 weeks. I do think it's kind of weird that you guys aren't kissing. So that's kind of where they are right now. I'm going to go next to, we're going to save Emily and Brennan for last, because that's a doozy. We're going to go to Austin and Becca, because they're actually kind of boring. The only issue, or I don't know if it's an issue. It's technically not really an issue, but basically they have differing views on religion. I believe he has a religion. He has a denomination that he follows. I don't think he's strict with it, but he has a denomination while she is agnostic. And it hasn't really caused any issues as of yet, but I think it bothers her a little bit, because I guess all the Christians she's met have all tried to convert her, or have all condemned her to hell. Unfortunately, I'm a Christian. Not unfortunately, I'm a Christian. Unfortunately, as a Christian, I know that we can be, I don't think I am, but I know that we traditionally have been very judgmental. Not just of people who are non-Christians, we are extremely judgmental of people who are Christian as well. And it's not right. I'm not making no excuses for it. So I feel bad. I know for a fact, my mother is a pastor, so I know for a fact that so many people have been hurt by the church. And when I say by the church, the people who represent the church have hurt them by being judgmental, by being nasty, by just a lot of things. And so I understand where she's coming from, but from his friend's perspective, it doesn't seem like whatever his denomination is that he follows, it doesn't seem like it really impacts areas of his life. It's more like just kind of a statute of morals that he follows. So for now, it doesn't seem like a really big deal to me at all, but that's their only like hiccup, which isn't really hiccup. Their friends came, their friends got along really well. It was a great housewarming party. That's it. The end. Emily and Brennan. So we're going to go there. Okay. Brennan, I don't know what's going on with him. When I first started this season of reviewing and recapping Married at First Sight, season 17, I said from the very beginning that Emily and Brennan are probably the most physically attractive couple that I've seen on the show. I was like, oh, she's young. She's the one that's never been in a relationship before, ever. And he, is always looking for a wife. And so he's ready. She claims that she's ready. So she was the one I was kind of keeping my side eye on, because I'm like, she's never been in a relationship before. It might get really hard for her really quickly. I don't know if she's going to be able to hang. She may not know how to open up, how to do this, how to do that. So I was really focused on her. Apparently it's him I had to worry about. They came back from the honeymoon. As you said, even towards the end of the honeymoon, things felt a little off. She thought that things were a little distant. They come back from the honeymoon. Everyone immediately went to their new apartment. But he said, I feel like I have a lot of stuff at work coming up soon. And, I know you're really busy too. And so I think it would be wise if we don't move in right away. Let's give it a few days and just we can revisit it. That wasn't what she was expecting. And one thing that did bother me is that she didn't speak up and say, I'm not comfortable with that. We're married. We need to be together. We just spent 7 days in Cancun. And I think for him, he was overwhelmed with that. And he just needed a break from her. You don't get that in marriage. This is what you signed up for. So if you can spend 7 days with me in Cancun in a hotel, how's it different from now spending the next few weeks with me here in this apartment? At least here, you can actually physically go to work. You can physically go visit your friends. You get to have that break. In the honeymoon, you didn't have a break at all. At home, you get breaks. Look at me. My husband right now is bowling. I have a break. I'm not acting in the wife role right now. I get to relax. So when you're at home doing your regular thing, getting back to your regularly scheduled program, you get to have those times apart, but I still spend time with you in the house and we still sleep together every night. I thought that was really weird. Definitely doesn't bode well, obviously. And I hated the fact that Emily didn't speak up. It was clear she was uncomfortable with the idea, but she didn't say anything. So in addition to them moving in together, the couples moving in together, they also visited each other's apartments just to kind of see how that person lives and, help the person pack up some of the stuff they want to bring to the new place. So we don't see Brennan visiting Emily's house. We see Emily visiting Brennan's house. His body language, extremely standoffish, and they are another couple who, even though they're still together compared to Lauren and Orion and Michael and the mystery chick, they are another couple that does not kiss. We have not seen them kiss since the honeymoon. And it's very apparent when Emily came to visit him, he gave her a hug, then immediately kind of backed away. She's making comments about his house. Oh, I love what you did there. Oh, I love this. Oh, this is really nice. He's like, yeah, really standoffish, not warm at all, literally putting physical distance between them. And she comments in her talking head, he's being distant. I feel it. I don't know what it is. But she didn't speak up and say anything. That is a moment to say, Brennan, I don't know if I'm imagining things. Pardonnez-moi. I don't know if I'm imagining things, but I feel a distance between us. I don't like it. And again, let me know if it's in my head, but I feel like you're not being that close to me and I don't know why. Did I do something? Are you going through something? That would have been time to have that conversation, and she didn't. Because I think she didn't because she was afraid of the answer. Honestly. So, Pastor Cal comes to visit them. And Pastor Cal got straight to the point. He came in. He's like, oh, your apartment is lovely. Looks very unlived in. Okay, so let's discuss this. Why have you neither of you moved into the apartment yet? Immediately before he even sat down, I was like, thank you, Pastor Cal. Let's call a thing a thing. Call out the elephant in the room. And Emily, she's standing by her man. So she's learning. She stood by her man and was like, oh, well, we decided our work weeks have been so hectic. We need time to kind of decompress from the honeymoon and from everything. So we decided not to move in right away. I was like, girl, yeah, I didn't decide nothing. He said that. But in front of people, she's presenting a united front. I was like, okay, that is what you're supposed to do when you get married. So I get that and I can respect that. And then he says, which threw her for a loop, and this really pissed me off a lot. He basically said that he's not feeling any romance towards her, any romantic feelings, any He didn't say he was not attracted to her, but he basically alluded to that without saying that. Because he was like, I don't want to say that because we're on camera and that's not a nice thing to say. But you basically just said it. Like, that's just really dumb and really cowardly. Like, stand 10 toes down. You don't even have to say she's unattractive. You can say, I think she's a beautiful girl, but I'm not attracted to her. And I don't know why. Or something. So poor Emily has to sit there because, of course, this is the first time she's hearing any of this. She didn't realize at all this is what he was thinking. She's probably thinking like, oh, he's a little overwhelmed. Everything happened so quickly. And she said, I'm going to give him a space because I don't know him well enough. I'm going to give him space to figure things out. Yeah, this man is basically telling Pastor Cal and saying to your face, because he didn't look at you the whole time, that he is not attracted to you. He doesn't feel any romantic feelings whatsoever. Hence why you guys probably aren't kissing anymore. And Emily, you can see her face start to get red. She is feeling embarrassed and she is trying her hardest to fight back tears. You could clearly tell this girl wanted to just burst into tears at the idea that I'm married to this man that I'm feeling, that I'm attracted to, and he's telling everybody that he's not attracted to me. She's like, this is not the way I thought this would go. So that's what happened last week. This week, they move in together. They have a housewarming party. Their housewarming party was an epic disaster. They had wigs, which was supposed to be kind of fun and flirty. And I was like, okay, that's cute. 2 of her girlfriends came who did not come to the wedding. So this is their first time ever meeting. What's his name? It's not Bennett. See, I don't even remember Brennan. That's how uninvested I am in the show, guys. So they've never met Brennan before. And if you've never watched the episode where they have a housewarming party, normally the wife invites 2 of her friends. The husband invites 2 of his friends. And then at some point during the night, the wife goes off with her husband's friends and the husband goes off with the wife's friends for them to have just a chit chat about how are things going. Is there anything you need to know about her or him? You know, how can we help? You know, how do you think it's like just kind of not getting to know the person necessarily, but getting to know where they are in their marriage. And, you know, if they've run into anything, they can say, oh, yeah, well, she does have a hard time opening up. Just keep at it. Or, yeah, she's stressed. That's kind of what she does when she feels attacked or whatever. That's their role. Their role isn't to, the role as the housewarming party is not to interrogate you. And for these 2 women who were not at the wedding, who claim that Emily's one of their best friends, and I shouldn't say claim, they say that Emily's one of their best friends. At the wedding is when everybody is meeting everybody for the very first time, right? So at the wedding, the bride and groom meet, kiss, get married, blah, blah, blah. At the reception, after they have their first dance, they eat their food, the bride and the groom separate and they go to different parts of basically they go to their now spouses, friends and family to say, hey, I'm Brennan. It's nice to meet you. Oh, you're her mom. You're her dad. Oh, you're her girlfriends. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that Brennan sat down with her bridesmaids to talk to her, to talk to them about, hey, what can you tell me about Emily? What do I need to know? What do I need to stay away from? Blah, blah, blah. And not only that, after they talk with them at the actual reception, the next morning, the 2 people who got married have breakfast with their spouses. Again, friends and family. It could be a different group of people. It could be the same. But it's, you know, it's better because there's no alcohol involved, but you still have that time for them to get to know you and for you to get to know them. That's what that is for, not the housewarming party. So these 2 women are outside talking to Brennan. It gets very heated, very fast. And I will say that as much as Brennan pissed me off last week, I completely understood his reaction this week. He was extremely defensive because they were painting him in a corner like, but who are you? Because we don't know you. So who are you? What are your intentions? But see, I saw when you did this and da-da-da. And it's like, time out. You cannot sit here and judge me for 5 minutes of what you saw in the kitchen 5 minutes ago. You just meeting me. So you're not about to paint my whole character in your mind off of one interaction the first time I'm meeting you. That's not fair. And they were just like really coming at him. One of the women, like, she like ended up cursing him. Like, no, like, what the F, like, or something. And people take that differently. Like, for me, if y'all guys know, you may not know, I don't typically curse. So my friends, they're grown. They, you know, they feel bad when they even curse around me. I'm like, we grown. I'm not a kid. I don't care if y'all curse. I just choose not to. But it's a difference between cursing around me and cursing at me. That's what you're not going to do. Everybody doesn't take that well, and everybody doesn't talk that way. So the fact that she did that and basically raising her voice at him, I was like, and I didn't think it was the alcohol necessarily. Like, on one hand, yeah, you're being protective of your friend, but this isn't the way to do it. Get to know him if you want to get to know him, but don't set it up like an interrogation. Like, just talk to him like, hey, so are you from around here? Okay, how are things going with Emily? Have you run into any issues? Like, is there anything we need to know? Like, just let that be that. Because it'd be different also if this is a man she's interested in dating and you feel like you got to interrogate him. Okay, you got to make sure he's worthy of your girl. That's fine. Guess what? Emily's married to this man. She's not dating him. He's not a contestant for someone to potentially be in her life. They signed papers. They are legally married. So no matter what you hear him say, no matter if you're impressed or not, they're still married at the end of the day. Ain't nothing you gonna do about that, boo. So all you can do is get to know him, like I said, in a friendly manner and keep it pushing. I thought that was very disrespectful, and I was definitely on Brendan's side during that particular altercation. And I loved what Emily said when he came back. He appreciated too, and I'm sure that helped a lot with him feeling a little bit closer to her, is that when he told her what was going on, I'm sure her friends like gave her the spiel too when they came in the house. But when he talked to her, she didn't immediately take her friend's side. That is a really difficult thing to do, especially when you first get married. Not that all of a sudden it's your friends against your spouse, but more so you have to start getting in the mindset that my spouse comes first. They have to. Your spouse is supposed to come first over your friendships, even over your parents, even over your kids. That doesn't mean that all those people get neglected. It doesn't mean any of that, but it does mean that when it comes to protecting someone, or when it comes to shielding someone from harm or taking someone's feelings into account, your spouse comes first before all of those people. So I don't know what Emily said to the girls when they walked back in the house, but what she said to Brendan was, I know that they're just looking out for me because they love me, but you should not have had to go through that. That was completely uncalled for. They were not right for doing that. That was very wrong of them to get all up in your face like that, to make these accusations against you. They should never have done that. So I'm hoping she said the same thing to them, but I know he appreciated that she has my back. And again, that's important, especially for a man. A man always wants to feel like a woman has his back. I mean, women want to feel that too, but it's definitely like really high up there for men. So again, I don't know if she said that to her girlfriends or not. I don't know if this will impact if those specific friends are going to come over to their house. Like, let's say they stay married and they move into like a house, right? And they have this long, luxurious marriage. Will they be able to get past that moment? Will those friends be allowed in your house again? Who knows? Either way, that's kind of where they are. They're in like a somewhat okay place. But again, Michael, he's coming back at some point because we've seen previews. I don't know when that man is coming back. He's the one that got stood up at the altars. At some point, he's coming back. Lauren and Orion are getting divorced, but we see them next week. Austin and Becca seem really good. They're still lovey-dovey, still kissing. They're not having sex, though. And I'm surprised by that. None of the couples have had sex. Austin and Becca will probably have sex first because right now they have the most stable relationship. Austin said he's the one that's holding back. He wants to wait until he just feels a little more settled. He does really like Becca, finds her attractive. He really, really enjoys being around her. Becca's like, hey, I'm ready when you are. She's ready to get the party started, all right? But they're doing well, and I think they'll be the first ones to have sex. Cameron and Claire are okay, but there's no physical chemistry. There's no connection, no real connection. They don't kiss. They hug. That's kind of it. Emily and Brennan, I don't know. Her having his back, I'm sure, like, bumped her up a couple notches in his mind. That's not enough for him necessarily to be attracted to her now. So I don't know what's going to happen there because, again, they're not kissing. They're not going to have sex. I'm assuming they're not going to. I'm definitely assuming Cameron and Claire aren't going to have sex during this process at all. They're not even kissing each other. But, yeah, that's where we are with Married at First Sight, guys. I could say I'm going to try to do better and make sure I record this every week. I'm making no promises. I will promise that since I started this journey, I will finish it. I will, Scout's honor, I'm not a scout, SG-Row honor, I will review and recap every episode of Married at First Sight until the reunion. I don't do the reunion shows because by the time we get to the reunion, I'm tired of looking at all these people. And I'm like, nope, I don't care anymore. But I will review and recap until the reunion. So I will see you guys next week, the week after that. At some point, you'll get these reviews, okay? So thanks for watching my video. Make sure you like this video, share, subscribe to my channel, comment below, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.